founding managing partner at Tanto Capital Markets. Partners, I beg pardon. And joins us. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
I know you've been travelling. I'll come to that. I'm super. Because I get to work with smart people and take my mild intellect to a better level, hopefully. Now, look, you've made the absolutely key point for a lot of our viewers is that the disparity between US valuations and European valuations, albeit this week slightly reversed, but by and large is widening. It's a trend that we talked a lot about in 2023 and people got very excited at the start of this year. Let's get into Europe. Let's get into Europe. And now I see something fascinating happening. I see, obviously, two groups of people who are making a market. The ones who are saying Europe is a basket case because of all the reasons that are going on, plus the politics sprinkled in. Let's pull back. Let's go to neutral. Let's go underweight and just go where it's safe in the US. And the others who are saying, and we had one around this desk yesterday, said, Europe, the valuation discount has expanded. Let's fill our boots. Where are you, sir?
I am risk on US. And I just think that going back to your earlier discussion about innovation takes place, yes, in Europe, but where does it actually mature?
Yeah.
It matures in the US. I mean, US is the land of the go big or go home. And even though we have great ideas, Europe has great ideas, the big boxes in the US, market dynamics are much more conducive in the US, Nvidias of this world come out in the US. And therefore, I think it's a mindset issue, Steve. I think it's a mindset issue combined with incredible capital markets. And by the way, I do think that given the kind of geopolitical headwinds that we are facing and we are likely to face going forward, US is the better protected landscape compared to Europe. And Europe has a lot of structural issues.
Got it. Oh, God, my sycophancy is at new levels. I agree with everything you just said. But, is it in the price?
Right. So, not necessarily. And I think this is a portfolio game. Right? So would I go and invest in certain European companies as in a portfolio basis? Absolutely. Again, ASMLs of this world, potentially. But looking at the growth prospects, my portfolio would be more heavily skewed towards US equities than European equities on the whole. I think Europe is going to face a lot of challenges. Doesn't mean that they will not be able to go over these challenges.
Sorry, Azan, again, yeah, we know this, but is it in the price?
I don't think so.
Right. Okay.
I just want to pull out some stats. So I was looking at an article that was talking about whether Nvidia poses a challenge for the markets thanks to the Wall Street Journal. I think we've all been talking about Nvidia and this enormous growth trajectory we've seen in the stock price this year, and we know it's very much underpinned the story on the S&P and the Nasdaq. But these stats, the average stock is about where it was at the start of 2022. On the S&P 500. I know some fund managers are looking for breadth, but is that coming anytime soon, or is there a real problem now that Nvidia has escalated so far? If it falls back at all, it takes with it the broader market.
I think that's a great question, and I think we cannot ignore how important Nvidia and the Max 7 is for the markets right now. I think everyone is kind of invested in these stocks, and that has a self-fulfilling prophecy of sorts for the market. At the same time, I think it is time for portfolio managers to take a closer look at differentiating between different tech companies. I think particularly Nvidia has a unique story. Yes, strong earnings, yes, beating forecasts, but if you look at the kind of world that we are going to be living in the future, I don't think the market has priced in an optimistic AI scenario yet vis-a-vis Nvidia and AI stocks. I think we are somewhere in the Goldilocks to kind of middling place right now. But at the same time, the whole market is so interdependent and almost held by a linchpin, which is the stock that is Nvidia. So it definitely is risky.
So what do you do? Because if the market is saying, look for some breadth to come back in at some stage, is that just predicated on the Fed cutting rates at some point, or is it around the broader AI story actually bringing some rewards for other companies beyond a handful of names?
I think the broader macro is important. So Fed, yes, will be looking to cut interest rates, although the guidance is only one. But at the same time, if you look at the broader macro, the historical low unemployment rates, the great output growth, consumer resilience in the US, I think the market has enough good news to look at pricing stocks. Although I have to say that I think investors are so desperate to buy into any positive news that I think in the second half of the year, it will be a bit more volatile, a bit more real, and therefore we'll have more, although a benign macro backdrop, more volatility for investors to sit back and think, hold on, is this overpriced?
My oldest friend at CNBC is Rodway, and he said to me, I can have one more question. He's the director. You've just come back from Italy. What did you learn?
I learned that Venice has an incredible over-tourism issue. And by the way, joke aside, Italy is one of those countries that is an amalgamation of Western European dynamics with the resilience of emerging market entrepreneurs. And it always surprises me and shows me the importance of being able to have a great SME market where families are involved, where resilience is really baked into the system.
Yeah.
And that is very important, and that is going to be very important.
You learn that when you meet the Italian business elite. The resilience is baked in regardless of the politics, the geopolitics, the social and the financial problem. We have to go.
Neither of you mentioned the food yet. Anyway, we'll leave it at that.
Do we need to? Do we need to?
Oz Kurel with us, founding managing partner, Tanto Capital Partners. Coming up on the show, French finance minister